I'm here.
You're here. Someone in the chat said, wanted to know if you were taking a Viper Creeper nap.
That'd be a good idea. No, I was working on Milwaukee bits. Yeah, some fun stuff. And realized that my kit over there is incomplete, so I don't know what the heck's going on. I've had these boxes full of Milwaukee bits forever, and now I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I don't like half of them. Mike's been rooting around in there, so he probably stole them. Yeah, so I'll have to figure that out. But Milwaukee they made, which I've been waiting forever. They made the little flip thingies, the little suitcase little things that open up. Well, they made a small, medium, large, and then a small and medium compact, where you can adjust the holders. And so now, instead of me just having a bin full of all these bits, because I hate the ones that they provide, because you get what they decide or what the Home Depot buyer decides. And so now I can take the entire package that are put together and put it in a nice organized little suitcase. And so you'd have like Phillips, and then you'd have Torx, and then I'm going to kind of figure out how they fit together, how it can all work, insert bits, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be awesome.
But they're telling me my mic is not working. So I can hear me. You can hear me.
Uh-oh.
But they can't hear me.
Yeah. Well, I'll do all the talking then.
They don't want to hear me anyway. That's fine.
Yeah, something. I guess they'll come back in here and fix it.
Here's a good question. They can figure out the questions as we go based on your answers.
Okay. All right.
So from Brian Lee in the chat, after your experiences with different 911s, which one is your go-to if you had the keys to all of them in front of you?
So the question was, after my experience with different 911s, which would be the go-to? The modern GT3. See, back in the day, you get a 911, and the GT3 was just not quite as streetable, not quite as comfortable. So the current 911s, like current GT3s and stuff, can be a simple replacement. So I'm just not a turbo guy. The turbo is kind of boring. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Not a great option, I don't think, for most guys who like naturally aspirated engines. This turbo super fast and all-wheel drive, all that stuff, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. So naturally, most people think that the GT2 RS is the best version. I just don't like that car very much. I don't want one. I wouldn't want to pay the extra for it. It's not my favorite car. So I think like a modern, like new, like 992 GT3, and then you can, if you want to be a little more subdued, you can get something like the Touring. I think those are the best, the best version of the car, because the current doesn't, like the clutch doesn't clunk and clank, and like it's, comfortable and quiet, and it's generally like a great overall all-around car with an insane engine. So I think that that's the best version of it. You think maybe it's one of the underneath here?
Mic not working, Chris, at all?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not going out. We can hear it, but they can't hear me.
Yeah, so we've got full volume. Everything looks good, unless something's unplugged. I wonder if it's an OBS.
1, 2, no.
Yeah,
Maybe it is.
yeah. Well, I mean, we see it. Yeah, is there anything coming in OBS? Yeah, see, his mic's not in OBS. That's why.
It samples them down.
Yeah, but because
I could see you in here.
if he talks, then there's nothing there. That's just me.
All right, let's see here. We got a couple people who are glad we're back for like 2 weeks in a row here. It's been a while. Dylan says, "Hey Matt and Chris, it's crazy how fast this week flew by. It feels like we just did this live chat." Yeah, that was a pretty quick week. Yeah.
They can't hear you, so you're talking to no one.
Oh, that's a good question.
Really loud.
Oh, here. No, let's see. This guy in Cleveland. Hey, Matty. Do you see more affordable amplified streaming music player options on the horizon? Alternatives to the Blue Sound Power Node and SBS Soundbase.
So the question is about alternatives to like the Node. I'm sure. I don't know why you'd really need one other than just cost. The Node is such a great option. I have an SBS Soundbase over there. I need to test out and see how see if it's any good. But now with the Node Edge, I mean, the Blue Sound's tech is so much better than anybody else. And I think that, I mean, and I like MQA and Tidal, but you could use Cobuzz or anything you want on the Bluesound. I just think the Bluesound architecture is the best. They're about to roll out a new app or a new update to the app, which should be pretty sweet. So that's coming here soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's others, that, NAIM is NAIM is another, option. But I just think that the Node and PowerNode Edge, I mean, they're just awesome. I mean, the only thing I think could be really helpful is if there was like a $200 version of it. It's just I think the processing power is the limiting factor where they need a decent processor.
Morgan Butler says, and they can hear me through your microphone there. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Matt, planning on building a house here in Florida in the next year or so. What are some must-dos or suggestions to do during construction, budget permitting? This will be on well and septic.
I would look into ICF construction. If you can find a contractor and look into what the cost difference would be. It can save you a lot in elsewhere by doing ICF and the insulation it provides. So ICF is a insulated concrete form, and so they basically build your house with little foam bricks, and then they come and pour a 6-inch concrete core into the middle of that structure. And then they leave the foam, the foam exterior on the inside and outside, and that becomes another insulated barrier. So the other advantage is the construction of your house, then is more sturdy, more solid, and you can do things like we were going to do, like the barrier between the walls between the master bedroom and the rest of the house. We're going to do ICF. I was going to do my office theater in ICF, so you don't have to do quite as much sound deadening, insulation, stuff like that. So I'd highly suggest you look into that. If you're in Florida, I think you want to try to factor in some sort of generator as well into the equation. You also want to bring your attic into the home. So when you're designing your HVAC system, you want to, and even if you're building a smaller, more modest house, it's pretty easy to do, not super costly, is to do, closed cell foam, so you do, Isoneed's one brand that makes it, but you do closed cell spray foam insulation on the attic. But if you're going to do that, you bring the attic inside. So you're going to condition and dehumidify the attic. And so you do all of your stuff, like you do all of your mechanicals in the attic there, and you can sort of vent off and cool the attic and dehumidify it. So I think you want ICF. I think you want closed cell foam. I think you want supplemental dehumidification, as well as high SEER. Maybe even look into, if you can swing the cost, look at VRV, variable refrigerant, or VRF, or whatever they call it, of doing like ductless systems. Is something that I've been interested in doing, and doing that. If you design this all in the beginning, it really wouldn't cost that much. So ICF, spray foam insulation, supplemental dehumidification, possibly VRV, VRF, or whatever they call it. Variable refrigerant flow, yeah. And then I would look into doing a more sophisticated lighting control system. So you would do Lutron. We can help you design that. You do a Lutron system. I've learned a lot. We did my house. You'll see the videos come out here soon of the RAW 2 system. RAW 3 is coming, but I'm not a big fan of automation in the house, but there's lighting control, and having independent systems can make a real big difference in how your home functions. You'd run a lot less wire. You'd also want to run a lot of data throughout the house, or a lot of Cat6 throughout would also be really beneficial. But some of these little tweaks would be super helpful. So you have a really efficient HVAC system, as well as a sealed envelope combined with the generator, and then maybe solar if you got into that. You can make a really efficient home. You're probably never going to get paid back for all of that, other than in your comfort. Your home won't have humidity issues. It'll be more comfortable to live in, stuff like that.
I need to stop the stream and start it because I can't change the audio
Okay.
channels. So
All right, so we're going to stop the stream and come back
don't
to
do
it.
on YouTube, just on here. I need to
Huh?
do it, so
Oh,
just-
okay.
YouTube will stay up.
Hang in there.
You guys will
Yeah.
come back for everyone.
We'll be back in a minute.
Because you'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a little bit of a delay, so make sure everyone hears that. But somehow it looks like the channels got switched to stereo.
Mm.
You're like channel 4 of 3, so it's not picking him up, is my guess. Hopefully we're back with people.
All right, let's see.
All right, let's see if he's got some audio.
Mono's on.
Yep, there we go. Maybe.
Check 1, 2. Check 8, 9.
That says we're
3,
back. Let's see
4,
if we
5,
can-
6, 7, 12.
Chris is back. There we go. Thank you,
Okay.
Adam. All right.
All right,
Now the people can rest easy.
we're back.
All right. Dan Pfeiffer, we were just talking about you and how the high is 4 degrees there. Sorry about that. Come to Florida.
Yeah, that's a dumb choice. Bad choice. Life choice there.
Hey, Morgan Butler wants to know, do you have any timeline or estimated pricing for the more affordable 3/4 to 1 inch Aspire closet system?
That's a good question. I don't think the timeline's that far out. Right now we only have a couple of colors. They're making a transition. The original material was made in Italy, and with obvious logistics issues, they found a manufacturer with more color choice that makes a similar product in North Carolina. So that making that move to the new manufacturer will allow us to make different sizes. So I would guess if you reach out to design@obsessedgarage.com, we can get a more accurate estimate. I think the cost difference is at least 25% less. It's a pretty substantial difference because of the shipping weight is less. The material is a good 25% less. So there's some of the things that aren't different is the veneer, the vinyl veneer that they put on there is not any different. It's the same thickness. So, but it does save quite a bit of money and makes it a little more practical, especially for closets that don't matter as much. You've got second, third, fourth, fifth closets. Maybe the 3/4 is sufficient.
Let's see. Tucson Speed wants to know, hey, Matt, just out of curiosity, would there ever be an opportunity to pay to come out to OGHQ and learn from you how to paint correct / coating hands-on?
We've thought a lot about doing that kind of thing till I realized I don't really like doing that kind of thing. So, I've taught quite a few people. Maybe someday. The other thing I've thought about doing is when our longer-term plan is we would have some sort of Destination OG property here locally, and that could be part of it. So you come and stay there, and maybe we take a day, and you can choose different options. Like, hey, I'd like to go to dinner one night, or maybe I'd like to come over and do do some sort of training or something like that. We could kind of almost create like a menu where the property here would be a more of an immersive all in OG experience, where we had a house on the lake, you had a boat there, you had cars there to drive, the garage to play with, all that kind of stuff, and then things we could do here at HQ.
All right, let's see. This is from Mark C. He picked up some OEM F80 bumper splitters that have some scratches here and there. Should I tackle the carbon the same way as I would paint, working from a correcting compound / microfiber pad on up?
Yeah, pretty much all carbon fiber, unless it's dry, is going to have a clear coat on it. So that clear coat is normal, normal clear coat, normal painted clear coat, like DuPont or 3M or something like that. So you would just polish it like normal. You polish it, and a lot of times it'll have a little bit thicker layer because they'll put multiple layers of clear coat on. It just depends on the product, but yeah, I think that you just polish it like normal.
Skylar S. wants to know, is there a touch-up paint / clear coat company that you would suggest? I got some rock chips from a 5,000-mile road trip. Also, to PPF or not, we road trip a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the simplest solution, it's not paint, but a very simple solution is Dr. Color Chip. So you go to Dr. Color Chip, you choose you can choose from the drop down your exact paint code, and then they have a process that you do. I have a few videos on it, and of course you can watch. I'm sure they have some they have instructions on how to do it, but that's I think the best solution for it. And then, to avoid that in the future, paint protection film, if you're prone to road trip a lot, I think would be really beneficial for you. It's a little tough now because you have these rock chips that you're going to have bubbles. But when you get the car new or you get the car before it's all chipped up, PPF can make your life a lot better.
LR says, I'm going to paint my garage soon. The previous owners had a quick and not so great coat of paint thrown on to sell the place.
Mm-hmm.
Should I prime all the walls again, or can I get away with 2 or 3 coats of Harbor Gray?
I don't know. He didn't say what color it was.
No.
I mean, it's already painted. I mean, if it's not a dark color, then you might be able to get away with a single coat. Yeah, I wouldn't prime at all. If it's like deep red or black or navy or something like that, maybe you'd have to do a couple of coats, maybe, but most quality paints, if you do a quality paint system like Benjamin Moore or Sherwin-Williams, they'll prime for you, so you won't really need to do that. So you put the first coat on. Generally, the second coat would clean it up. That's something that should be really simple to do. So yeah, you shouldn't need to put 3. Certainly won't need to do 3 coats, 2 at the most, and maybe lay a primer down quickly, like Kills or something like that. If you have like dark walls, but you probably won't need to do that either.
Brandon in the chat says, "Hey Matt, West Coast Exotics has a chalk gray 2022 718 Spider, 6-speed and 8,000 miles. I found it for you here.
Yeah,
it's convertible though,
with steel brakes, no good. Yeah,
deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
All right.
And it's 8,000 miles. Too many.
Too many
miles, too much money, missing the right options. Does it have carbon?
About a convertible. Would you go for a convertible?
Does it have seats, the proper seats? Probably doesn't have that either.
Oh, let's see.
3 things it needs: Burmester, bucket seats, carbon ceramics. Has none of them. None of the 3.
Carbon bucket seats.
Okay, so it does have
there
that.
There you go. It's got that. It's a lovely Porsche. Oh.
Yeah, lovely with fantastic options. They don't know what they're freaking talking about. And the other thing I would want it to have, that the other nice thing on a Spider is the Spider Classic interior, which is red, which would be kind of cool. I'm not usually a red guy, but those are steel brakes, so no good.
Oh, all right,
yeah.
He tried. Ooh.
And it's got douche dad.
Yeah, you like that.
I know, dork dad want to be inserts. It does have aluminum pedals. That's nice. Yeah, I'm not buying anything at the moment. The M3's leaving, and I'm just gonna sit tight until I decide what I'm gonna do.
All right. On a related note, so this came up the other day in the ARM building. I figured I would ask you. So when I got my key fob replaced, Tommy was asking me where the unlock button was, because I have a lock, a panic, and a trunk button.
Okay.
So I said, which one unlocks it? And I said, I don't know. So what do you mean you don't know? I said, well, I don't lock my car, so I never have to unlock it. And so Ed is with me. Ed never locks his car. Some of them lock their car everywhere, every time they go, even they're getting out to run into racetrack. So what about you? What do you do? Do you ever do you lock your car? Do you purposely I got to do this?
I do sometimes. I'd say about 75% of the time.
75% you do lock it?
I would,
okay.
Yeah. But I'll leave the darn windows down and unlocked. I mean, what are they going to do?
That's my thought.
Someone going to steal a how hard it is to steal a modern car? Yeah, I think that's freaking dumb. So a lot of it's just out of habit, to set the lock. But yeah, shoot, Michelle leaves her darn keys in the truck in the driveway, 90% of the time. So if you ever want to come steal a Raptor, the chances are the keys are in it.
That's funny.
Yeah. I'm not a big lock kind of guy. Especially, maybe it's a little different on here, but if you leave it unlocked, they won't break your window.
Exactly. That's part of my point. Was if they're going to steal it, they may as well, and they don't have to break a window in the process.
Yeah, I mean, certainly out here, cars are never locked, But yeah, like if I'm going to Publix, maybe I would sometimes. Most of the time not. But like, again, if you don't keep anything in the car, and if you did keep something in the car, just leave it unlocked and let them rummage around and get nothing. I guess the bad thing comes from maybe like take a leak in your back seat or something, scratch up the inside. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that option, but yeah. Now I'm going to start locking my car. Shaz29 says Milwaukee extended reach versus high-speed ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
Which type and which size should I buy first, or should I just wait for the extended high-speed ratchet to be released?
Yeah, I have one sitting in a box over there, so they're coming out here shortly. Yeah, I mean, the extended reach is the most useful, plus the new ones, the head is a little smaller. You think you want 3/8. 3/8 is the nice size, because you can size up or size down, with a little adapter. But yeah, extended reach, high speed, 3/8 is the way to go. And I mean, if it's not out yet, it'll be out here shortly.
Also, what will be replacing the Dynaudio Music Bluetooth speakers?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm starting to really like the Blue Sound stuff. Because we now have so a couple of things that are coming. The new Alpha IQ coming from PSB is going to be incredible. It has a really awesome. It basically has a Blue Sound power node in the speaker, and it'll be Blue OS MQA compatible right from your phone, and integrate with all the rest of your stuff. They're going to be a little expensive, I think they're $1,500 a pair, because they're amplified, full Blue OS, everything all in one box. So that is going to be I think the standard garage solution. Just really, really awesome. Other option is if you have some speakers, you need something you can do. The Blue Sound Edge is $600 or $700 now. So they have a slightly less powerful version of the Blue Sound power node. Yeah, $650 for a Node Edge. And so you have Power Node Edge, and you have the Power Node. The Power Node is like $1,000, a little bit more expensive than most people are willing to spend. So if you did have a pair of decent bookshelf speakers already, you could buy a Power Node Edge for $650 and have full functionality. So I think, in my case, at Helen, I put one of the Pulse Minis out at the gym, because I didn't want people to be able to blast it out anyway down on the golf course. And then I put the Blue Sound Flexes. I'm putting those in my bathroom, and so I think that I'm gonna, because I don't envision Dynaudio having any solution anytime soon. It sure doesn't seem like it. They had real issues with Chinese manufacturing and stuff. So the Dolly stuff, I've been waiting for just as long as the Musics from Dynaudio to try to see if that was a good replacement. So I really think it kind of has to be either a decent set of bookshelves or just do the Pulse or the Pulse Mini. And then we can integrate it with the rest of our systems throughout the house. I'm all NAD, Blue Sound, all connected, and so both of the houses, the Helen house and my house here, are really. It's just such an amazing experience dealing with that application.
Bob Vanderzand has a good point here with regard to Michelle and the Raptor. Said if they're going to steal it, you may as well leave them the keys too.
Yeah,
that way they don't have to break anything,
mess anything up. Right.
That's good stuff. All right, Milwaukee right angle impact versus extended reach ratchet. I feel like it's more beneficial to just use the right angle impact and get the bolt off instead of having to manually ratchet first.
Yeah, the problem with that is the head of it's pretty bulky, so it doesn't fit in a lot of applications. It has 220 foot-pounds of capability versus say 30 or 40 foot-pounds of capability on the ratcheting wrench. The regular ratchets versions. So I think that I have both right angles. I have the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch in my master collection, because sometimes it's useful, but I find that I use those very rarely, and I do use the regular 3/8 or 1/4 inch ratchet really often.
Andrew wants to know, hey Matt, what are the dates for the NC North Carolina Mountain Car Cruise? That's what I was just do we have dates set yet? Is there one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just looking. We'll ask Shane. He usually puts that together, right? Shane W.
Yeah.
So Andrew,
not
we'll
sure.
talk more about that later. But February 25th, while you're asking, is the open house here at OGHQ. So if you're in or around our area, plan to come by February 25th, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tomlin Detailing says, what car are you planning on bringing to the OG Smokies meetup? Oh, I guess he thinks there's one too. Maybe there is one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going or not. We'll see.
All right, let's see.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to frickin' drive or not. I don't know. Who knows? It's not looking good.
We can take the Lexus. You can ride with me. The Project Viewer 15 says, I'm guessing based on the thumbnail that the Purple Pig Nose was sold? ?
Yep, I sold it. It's
You didn't do the trade. Somebody was asking about that earlier.
yeah, I decided not to do a trade. The cars, I had like 3 different options, or like a couple of GT4s, and but none of them were exactly how I would spec it, and all of them had miles, and I just wanted to get out from underneath it and reset, restart. And so I sold the car without the Acura exhaust, but I got my number, so I got the number I was looking for. So I basically broke even on the deal minus all the time, but the time was fun for me. So I actually enjoyed all that. I didn't get like my sales tax back or the the transport cost back, but I got all of my costs and it was a good deal because the guy who bought it got all the stuff that for a lot less than he could ever get it for himself. So it worked out great. So it worked out great for him, worked out for me, and he's in Tampa, so he'll come up and get it, and it'll be nice. So yeah, the alignment's done, the suspension's done. The last thing I'm going to do is I'll have a mid-pipe, the PSI mid-pipe. I'm going to put that on it for him. He said, hey, can you put it on? So I just go, oh, if I can video it, then yeah, sure. So we're going to do that, and then we'll part ways.
Jack Hay says, hey, Matt, I want to buy my first new Porsche, parentheses 992 Carrera S/GTS. How long did you wait to get the allocation for the 2 new Porsches you've ordered?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of different now, but
it's almost a year for that.
Yeah, the first Porsche I bought new was there's no outlet. Just walked in and bought it, ordered it. The next one, the GT4, I had to work to get an allocation, but after that, it takes like a year to get it. It seems now a year and a half on the touring. The regular 911s are a little bit easier, but yeah, I mean that's the tricky part is getting the allocation. But the whole put a deposit down, you may never get one. So that's what you need to ask them honestly. When am I going to get this thing?
Improved Garage has a super chat here for $5 US. Is there an update on the wall mount vacuum?
No real updates. We're going to be hoping to launch by the goal would be March 1st. We can start to launch it. We won't have full accessory capability, but we'll be really honest with you where we're at on hoses and accessories. And the Cox reel is great. We have some hose options, but I don't think it's the final solution. A new hose is probably not that much. Maybe it's $100, 70. No, it probably wouldn't even be that much. Maybe $75 for a new hose. So if we do come up with something great, it probably wouldn't be a difficult thing to swap. And then accessories are things that we'll be able to add on in the future. So we're thinking sometime in the next few weeks.
Perfect Detail USA super chat $5 US says we're ready for the OG spec DI system. Any updates there?
Yeah, we have our first prototype, so we're working on second prototypes. Joe's back in Minnesota, and he's back on the trail. So he was down here in Florida for a month or so. We were working on some of the different prototypes. We have some more mock-ups. We're going to start testing here soon, and I think that we're probably summertime. Late summer, early fall is what we're looking at. Would be realistic.
Obsessed Mobile Detailing wants to know, do you happen to know the rough dimensions of the DI system? I want to be able to fit in my mobile unit.
Not sure. I think it's probably what did we say? It was 38 inches tall or something like that. So the height would be the issue for some.
Pretty tall.
Yeah, so I think it's like let's say 40 inches tall and like 10 by 10 or something, or 12 by 12. So the width and depth aren't too significant. It's the height that's a bit taller, around 40 inches.
Sunny Color says, hey, Matt, I'm in the market for a new daily. Would you take a higher mileage 14/15 turbo or a new M3?
New M3, yeah.
Improved Garage, Super Chat, $5 US. If you had $50,000 to spend on your first Porsche, which one do you get?
I don't think there really are many options there. I mean, you'd probably have to go down to like a 997 Carrera S, maybe, something like that. Probably be around there. That's probably what you're looking at. Because I think 991 Carrera S's would be my preference, but I don't think you're going to find one of those in that price range. I think they're going to still be higher than that. Yeah, so I would say probably 997 Carrera S. GTS is going to be a lot more than that. Would be ballpark what you're looking at.
All right, our buddy Spencer up in the Dakotas says, hey, Matt, what advice would you give to someone who owns their own business that wants a G80 M3, but the price is deterring them away? I have an M340, baby M3, but wanting to get the best versus settling.
Well, I mean, used is always an option, right? So you can find a nice used car, which has been the difficult thing, right? Because used cars are selling at significant premiums. So I think that if you can be patient, I know we've been saying this for years, but it sure does seem to now be happening that interest rates are certainly going to deter a large percentage of people from. It's deterring me, it's deterring. I'm sure it's deterring everybody. It's saying, well, I would normally buy a new car because I could just finance it and pay 2-3%. But now, we have interest rates that are significant enough that you have a significant impact in your monthly payment, right? So I mean, what would a 6-year, 5 or 6 or 7 year loan? Now there's a pretty decent delta between a shorter term loan and a longer term loan. So you're paying a significant premium for like a 72-month loan. So you do a 6-year loan at 7 or 8% now, versus you're doing a 6-year loan for 2 or 1. I mean, you're talking about a difference of on a $50,000 car, a $700 a month payment up to probably close to $1,000, or more, because interest rates have risen so drastically. And so that would deter a lot of people, which then in turn you would think that cars would become a bit more realistically priced. But we still have issues with the supply chain and availability of cars, so maybe not. I just think that cars will become less accessible to most people, which would lead an opportunity to be able to get into something like that. And when you're upgrading, you would benefit from the loss you take on selling your car for less because your car is worth less. You'd get the same. Let's say you got the same discount on the less expensive car that you got on the more expensive car. You end up with a decent delta there. That if you were downgrading, you wouldn't want that to happen. But if you're upgrading cars, then you'd want to wait and be patient and watch things depreciate a bit. So I think that very likely if supply catches up to demand because the demand is hurt by more expense, I think that you end up in a buyer's position here not too distant future.
All right. Scott MTB says, hey guys, just got my order of OG Drying Aid. Can't wait to try it out in balmy New Hampshire. It's freezing up there too. I don't think Drying Aid is probably built for that.
It'll be all right.
Beadmaker froze, didn't it, if it got to a certain temperature?
Yeah.
Nathan Miller from next door here in the Arm Building says, going back to the closets for just a second, 3/4 inch is available now. Additional 1-inch colors are coming soon for the closets.
Got it.
There you go. Jeff C. says, do you have any interest in, what is it, Hazet?
Yeah, Hazet and Wera, yep.
Hand tools. Both have some great foam inlay sets. Currently working my way towards a legit German tool collection for my El Cheapo Harbor Freight box.
I talked to both of them at SEMA this year, and we're just not quite ready to tackle that. The Hazet foam isn't very good. It's okay. So it's also contingent upon having Tool Grid have their 6-inch squared. They have those little squares, their organization system. So I'm a little ways out from tackling those, but those will two that I'm really excited about.
Brian Schwab says, "Hey Matt, please don't jump on me, but consider getting the M4 CSL or M3 CS. This would be an amazing giveaway car.
No,
Or the M5 CS.
no,
No
I'm
good.
done with all those. I think I've BMW giveawayed out for quite some time. I've got to experience the BMWs that I've wanted to experience, and so now I think that I don't think a BMW giveaway is happening for at least a few years. I want to do some Porsche stuff, maybe a Lotus or something like that, or like the NSX I've been talking about.
Well, don't forget a certain purple BMW.
Yeah, I mean the E36 will be given away, but me buying another,
The new ones.
yeah, it's probably not practical.
Our friend Chris Kim says, "Hey Matt, if you were someone who actually washed your hands, what would be the OG spec soap?"
You know what I've really been digging is Dr. Beasley sent us a sample of their like cinnamon spice whatever hand soap, and it's really freaking good. Yeah,
I didn't know they made soap.
Yeah, it comes in a little fancy little one of their little brown glass containers. They sent us some, and I have it on our kitchen sink. It's actually really freaking good. Yeah.
Hello, Chris.
If you want some good smelling fancy stuff, what is that stuff that I did? Crap. Tarmac
Oh yeah, Tarmac.
from anti something Pharmacista Antimatica
Antica Pharmacista.
yeah, fragrances, and the
There you
Tarmac version.
Just don't get the Reed thing.
It doesn't work. So the soap is freaking it smells amazing. It works okay, but the smell is awesome.
Ooh,
Like
a
for your
travel
fancy bathroom.
That travel room spray, you can take it with you and
Yeah.
spray it wherever you go.
Yeah, that'd be great in his office. You have that kind of fancy soap, but I think it's pretty expensive. I think it was like $50 or something like that.
He then follows up on a serious note. Really enjoyed the 002 GT3T video, and the spec is money. That's a lot of letters and numbers.
Yeah,
I guess a gentleman's Porsche.
Yeah, that should be 992.
992.
Yeah.
Okay, wrong.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm taking my time. It's sitting there. I need to start polishing it. Hopefully, I don't know if I'll get to it next week, but maybe the following, start polishing it, and then we'll send it down to get the PPF, and yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, Jake says, "Hey, Matt, I am a poor medical student. I like to drive back roads and enjoy the feel of my stinky old E36 318. In your opinion, what is the cheapest, best car I can buy for a more enjoyable experience? S2K? ?
Yeah, those aren't cheap anymore. I'm not the guy to ask that. Cheap to me is my E92 M3 for 100 and something thousand.
He's not browsing those kinds of cars.
Yeah, I'm just not a good candidate for that question.
All right, let's see. Kevin Nickens says, "What are Matt's thoughts on gas octane rating? I'm sure he puts 93 in his cars, but do you really think it makes a difference from a performance/longevity perspective?"
Well, if your car, it depends on the car you have. I mean, if your car is, calls for 91 plus, then you better do it. Otherwise, you're going to have knock. You're going to have an issue with the engine. So now if the car, calls for 87, then you're fine to run it. But the octane rating, the higher quality, gas, if you will, you better run the right stuff or you're going to have longer term issues. Carbon buildup or knocking or improper detonation. I mean, you can end up with problems. So, like, you better not be running, 87 in a GT3. You're going to have problems.
As a follow-up to that from Spencer, which gas station do you fill up at? You got a consistent one you go to?
I go to that Chevron one across the street all the time. But, Shell if you can choose.
Detailing Garage wants to know, how would you restore headlights?
The right way to restore headlights is to sand, wet sand them down to completely remove the UV coat that yellows, and then to clear coat it. So you buy some clear coat and do it that way. The other way to do it would be to sand it, polish it, and then so you'd sand it, polish it, clear coat, or sand it, polish it, and just put like wax or a coating or something sealant on it. But you're gonna have to do that every so often because it won't stay. But what happens is that the UV top coat degrades and then they turn yellow, and so you have to get that off. But once you get it off, now your plastic is exposed. So then you're going to put something on it, and you really want to put a new, UV inhibiting clear coat on top of it if you can choose to do that. If you can paint.
Tyler Bortner wants to know, did the Armor Guys gloves make their way to you?
Yeah, I got them, and we're trying them out. Tommy took some to test out. Kyle did, and I did. Although they sent me a bunch of baby hand gloves. I don't know who has a large.
Those to Bryce.
Yeah. So I got large and mediums he sent me. I mean, who the heck has a freaking medium? So I'm squeezing into the larges. They kind of work.
Stinger Envy says, thank you for your straight-up review on the Active 2.0. I got it and I love it. Every time I go to the Home Depot, I snicker at the Ryobi pressure washer.
Well, maybe someday the Active will be in Home Depot.
Yeah, by the way, if you're looking for an Active 2.0, we're like one of the only places you can get it right now, and the next ones won't be here till about mid to late March is what we were told. So if you want one, now's the time to get one. Let's see. QB wants to know, do you have any thoughts on how to keep a rear camera lens clean? I've seen some conflicting comments on using ceramic coating or similar 6-month type of stuff to keep dirt and salt off the camera lenses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anything you put on there is going to really help with, dirt and salt and cinders and stuff like that. So I think, it'll just make it easier to wipe off, or rinse off. So I normally just coat over it. The disadvantage of coating over a lens is, that coating theoretically may degrade the performance of the lens, but those cameras aren't very good anyway, so I find it not to be an issue. And then all that coating does is help it rinse off and wash off a little easier. And maybe if it's like rainy, maybe it wouldn't hold, the surface tension changes, the contact angle changes, so maybe dirt wouldn't stick to it quite as much. But that really isn't going to help you much, but just help you clean it when you're cleaning it.
Undertow 99 says, shout out to Manny. Amazing customer service when UPS lost my order. That dude is on the ball. A great asset to OG. Nice.
Yeah, we do the best we can, try to get the questions answered as quickly as possible and have somebody that's really qualified to answer it. That's the key. So Manny and Ian and Daniel, they're the three guys. They know more about this stuff than anybody in the world.
Chris Kim, going back to that $50,000 towards a Porsche, said, I get the best Cayman for that money.
Yeah, you're probably going to go back to like 2012, 13, something like that. I think I was looking at Cayman GTSs from 2014, 15. They were like 80 or 90. So Cayman S in the 2014 and earlier range would be somewhere around there.
There's one, 2014.
Yep.
All right, this is from Jeffrey Hutchin. When are you going to come up to Dundon, and will there be a meetup possible?
So, bad news for you, good news for me. The GT3 RS is fixed. So the transmission is not the problem.
Good.
So a little backstory. That car came from Gig Harbor area, came from Seattle area. Dr. Will owned the car. He was the second owner, owned it for most of its life, about 20,000 miles of it. And he did it, extensively track-driven ownership, as he was a PCA instructor, and used that. It was his primary track car. So the car was due for a transmission rebuild, or not full rebuild, but they, rebuild the forks and stuff like that. And so he sold it to the next owner, which was the Greek who was from Tampa, on the forum. And the Greek, I didn't notice this, but he'd made a post saying in my journal thread on Renless that he had the transmission rebuilt or serviced, serviced and rebuilt. So it was out of the car and rebuilt, and we could see that, on the bolts and stuff. We could see that it had been taken out at some point. Plus, it has an aftermarket diff as well. So. So I wasn't sure that it had been serviced, and so was making plans to send it to Bill Rader out in Arizona to get it rebuilt and re-geared and all of that. And then I said, but before I do any of this, I'm going to change the fluid. I'm going to take the numeric off. I'm confident the numeric is probably fine, but mine probably just needed some real fine adjustment. We went in and readjusted it. It made it a little bit worse. And so the Numeric is a very mechanical experience with their cables and the short shifter. So I bought a brand new stock shifter box and a brand new set of stock cables. Did it yesterday, and it's good, perfect. And I changed the transmission fluid to Amsoil 7590, and it feels freaking great now. So transmission's fixed, so we're not going to send it to Dundon. The other thing I've decided is that to do plenum, intake, throttle body, tune, headers, the whole thing, you got to drop the engine. I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do now, transmission's fixed. I'm going to do probably the carbon intake box. I'm not going to do the plenum. I'm not going to do the throttle body, and I'm going to do the headers and center section side delete because the car's looking great, feeling great. I raised the suspension up in the front. I'm going to go figure out the toe issues in the rear here shortly, and put the wheels, tires, brakes on it, and I'm waiting for the black cage. But the car's rounding out nicely. It's going to be ready to go for June giveaway. But I'm really pumped that the transmission is good.
Bernard Thomas says, I noticed you had some built Hamber products laying around your garage at home. Do you have any plans to sell it on your site?
Yeah, I've been talking to Pete about a lot of the different products I bought and ordered or really 5 of everything they make to just start playing with. And then I did a Zoom call with him the other day, so he could kind of cue me in on the methodology and what some of the products are. I got all the anti-corrosion stuff and all the obscure stuff like Deox and things like that he has. And I don't know, we're gonna try it out. See if I like it, and see if I carry a few of them in the store if we can.
Going back to our poor medical student question, Chris Kim says BRZ or 86 for the med student.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. I mean, it's sort of the standard awesome car, and in a reasonable price range.
Philippe Champagne, our buddy up in Canada. When are you going to come to Canada? ?
Maybe I'll come up there this summer. I mean.
Is Heartland filming this summer?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I really want to take a trip to Lake Louise. Is where I'd like to go. I think that'd be fun this summer. Now that you guys maybe will let us in.
Adam wants to know, do you think Tool Grid could do 1.5-inch container width versus the 3-inch? I'd like to fill the void in my drawers. It sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, what's he talking about?
1.5 the containers, those little gray.
Yeah.
Are they 3-inch and he wants smaller, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they don't have one. I mean, I'm sure they could make one.
Addison Jordan has a super chat here for $4.99 US. Hey, Matt, how many entries would I have to buy to have an excellent chance at winning the dry ice giveaway? Well, we don't know yet, Addison.
Yeah, I mean, so we've probably... Let's see. We probably have the 20,000. So 4. So
some quick math for you here, Addison.
Yeah. So if you did like 100, so 20 divided by 4, that'd be like a 0.5% chance. So for every $100 you spend, you probably have about a 0.5% chance. So if you spent, say, $1,000, you'd have what
5%.
Yeah, 4 or 5% chance, something like that. So you just do that math. So $500, you've got a 2.5% chance, so something like that, based on what we've sold thus far. So yeah, I mean those are pretty darn good odds, but only one person wins.
Let's see. Addison Jordan, same guy or girl, wants to know, do you have any thoughts on the Simple Human hamper? Do you have one of those?
No, I didn't know they made one. It's probably pretty good. The Simple Human stuff tends to be pretty awesome. I like the garbage cans and the soap dispensers, and they have some pretty cool stuff. The bags are awesome.
Beamer wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Sonos home theater systems? Is there any alternative? Limited space, my budget's about $1.5K.
Yeah, you don't want Sonos. Sonos is the new Bose. It's just not good. That's not good stuff. So, if it depends on your sort of wiring setup, if you don't have the ability to put wires or run wires and stuff like that, then do something simple like the Sennheiser Ambio Max is $2,000. The Ambio Soundbar Plus is $1,300. In that price range, you're probably better off with Soundbar, or do your receiver and then a pair of speakers and a center channel, and then you can add a subwoofer later and start to build upon it. But yeah, not Sonos. Definitely not Sonos. Yeah, Sonos is not good.
Here's the simple.
Oh yeah, looks pretty
hamper.
cool.
You get the single or the double.
Yeah, that looks awesome. I mean, I have the hampers now built into the
your closets.
Yeah. Maybe that'd be kind of cool to do in the laundry room. I'm gonna, at some point this year, maybe late this year, early next year, I'm gonna revamp our laundry room with all our closet system and try to design something cool with testing on all the Hayfula stuff.
All right, let's see. Ben M wants to know, hey Matt, what is your opinion on fuel additives, in particular liquid moly products?
Yeah, I don't do any of that kind of stuff. I doubt it does much.
All right, Jack Hay says, hey, Matt, have you tried an LG Z2? I forget if you have the C2 or G2 in Helen, but is 8K that much better than the 4K?
No, because there's not really any content available in 8K. I don't know what the Z2 is. The Z2 an OLED, or is it LCD? I think that might be LCD. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, that is. Yeah, the signature stuff is generally a bunch of nonsense. It's the same display with like better speakers and stuff. But I think the Z is just the 8K version, which I don't think is worth the squeeze at the moment. So I mean, shoot, the C2 is fantastic. So yeah, I'd be inclined to just shoot. I bought the C1 for Up in Helen because I think it looks great.
Urjan says, you said Lotus is a potential giveaway car. Were you thinking the new Emira or the Evora or even the older Exige or Elise models?
No, the old stuff doesn't appeal to me. The new Emira is the only one that's interesting to me. I have a deposit down in the Jacksonville location. I think I'm like 22nd in line or something like that, so I don't know if I'll get one. I think I probably will. But that would be what I'd do, an Emira. Let's
see. Adam C. sent us a super chat. 5 Swiss francs, or francs, which is $5.40.
Ooh.
Ever thought about a B8.5 13 to 15 Audi RS5 as a giveaway car? Curious how you find the similarities and differences with your E92 M3.
Well, I mean, I had a B8 S4, similar car, just the 4-door version, and I freaking hated it. I loved how it looked. I think those cars look fantastic. But they're numb steering and just terrible understeer, and all-wheel drive system is just really bland and boring. So I've tried Audi. Audi's not very friendly to enthusiasts. It's just not a good option for me. I thought I would have Audis forever. One of my favorite car movies is Ronin, where they have the S8, and I always thought, man, I'm gonna get an S8 someday. It'd be so sweet. And I got my first Audi in 2011 or something like that. It's just not for me.
Porsche Posse says, on my 2011 GT3 RS, the best setup was the 996 cup shifter cables. Super solid setup and eliminated any mush in the shift.
Yeah, I mean, I don't find the stock version to be all that terrible, but I'm sure if you're rowing gears on the track, I mean, that's where guys, want some more feedback. But I'm pumped the way it is with all fresh everything now, so it's pretty sweet.
Brad, our buddy up in the Pacific Northwest, said, I just bought more giveaway entries, hoping for a dinner with Maddie.
That would be fun.
There you go, 50 entries.
Nice. So it is... Just to keep people in or wondering what the heck's going on here, we're doing a digital entry only giveaway of either a dry ice cleaning system with a air compressor and a dinner with Scott and I, and a training with Scott at the Dreiss Lab, or a $10,000 OG shopping spree where it's dinner with me and a shopping spree in the store, with whatever you want. And we decided to do a shopping spree because a lot of you have a lot of the stuff, so you can get whatever you want. Doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be the dry ice system. Doesn't have to be a pressure washer. You already have all that stuff, so you can we'll just get a cart and walk around and get whatever you want.
There you go. Although we do have a couple exclusions, like cabinets and Swiss Tracks, a couple exclusions, but stuff out in the warehouse, in the store, polishers, all that good stuff.
Yep.
$10,000 goes a pretty long way too.
Mm-hmm.
Better odds than Mega Millions. That's correct. Much better odds. Let's see. Jay Eichhorn says, sorry if this was asked already, but is there 997 video content coming up this week? Are the BBS wheels on the car yet?
They're not on the car yet. They will be on. I was planning on doing it today, but I got sidetracked with the Milwaukee and Hayful stuff. So I'm going to Kate's volleyball tournament this weekend, so I won't be working on it then. So I'll be doing it first thing next week, where I do the brakes and the wheels. I have an oil change video to put up, and then I've got to do next week. I'd like to do the video on the restoration of the that one part I need a patch on the leather. So lots of 997 stuff coming up, and then you can also go check out the Rennlist journal too. Just go to Rennlist.com. Go find the GT3 section, the 997 GT3 GT2 section, and you'll see Money 2536 car journal. You can kind of scroll through what I've been working on. Last night I put up several entries with photos, and but yeah, more videos coming.
CMAC says, Matt would absolutely fall in love with a Banff. I really recommend going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I want to go.
It looks like Helen with a slight bit touch of class on top of it there.
Yeah, classy Helen, right? Yeah, I want to go there.
Our own Lewis Martin chimes in and says, simple human hamper. You want it. Quality build and looks great. I would take Lewis's advice when it comes to hampers. That seems like his kind of thing. 2 super chats here. One from Francisco Nunez, $9.99 US. Hey, Matt, the G-Technic CSU you recommended was the best thing for the Black Raptor.
Yeah.
I have an R coming in months. Still recommend the same coating, or is there something better?
Yeah, I mean, if you have your certified installer do Crystal Serum Ultra, and then top it with EXO, and then depending on when you get it, EXO V5 should be coming to market here soon. But you top it with EXO V4, and you could, if you're gonna do any paint protection film as well, you put the CSU on that as well, and have them do the wheels with it too. Be awesome.
Shaz wants to know, any word on when G-Technic EXO V5 is being released?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd assume it'd be soon, but I don't know.
Let's see. Addison, Super Chat, $4.99. Stop sending Super Chats and go register to win that dry ice machine, Addison. Hey, Matt, I really want to modify my truck, but my parents don't want me to lose the warranty. Mm-hmm. How do I explain to them that the warranty is a scam?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're going to modify. If you modify the suspension, then you don't have a warranty on your suspension components anymore, right? If you start tuning the engine, then you're going to not have a warranty on the engine. And so you modify things that, you understand, like your suspension is not going to fail. Unless you're jumping the truck off of something, you start doing things cosmetically, you do different wheels. I mean, now your wheels are not warranted anymore, right? But what's going to happen to your wheels anyway? And so you do an exhaust. I mean, I guess the dealer could argue that if the engine blew, it was the exhaust's fault, but you could fight that for sure, But the one thing you want to avoid, if you don't have the money to buy a new engine, then you probably shouldn't be doing engine tuning. But intake, exhaust, suspension, cosmetic things, wheels, tires, all that kind of stuff, isn't void and squat. So, yeah, you tell them that, look, there's no such thing really as completely voiding a warranty. They can't do that. Forget what the law is, but there's a precedent for that. It has to be attributable to the modification that you did.
Oh, Mike F. is in the chat here. Mike F. from Ocala, Florida. Says, I'm listening to the podcast while I'm installing the central vac in your attic. I heard you accuse me of stealing half of your Milwaukee bits. I have a few at your house at most, making me look bad. Ha ha ha.
I'm missing 6-inch PH1s. I'm missing the 3-inch PH1s.
Would he need those to install the central vac in your attic?
Yeah. I bet you they're over there somewhere.
All right. Mike F. Now we know the culprit. Let's see. Philippe says he's going to win the giveaway, and he's going shopping at the store. Nice. Blah, blah, blah. I thought I saw somewhere, this is from Sam, that you were getting your GT4 back. Did I miss that, or am I just making this up?
No, that was a joke post I made. My buddy has the same color car with steel brakes, and I wanted to see if anybody would catch it. And clearly that joke didn't really work.
Steven wants to know, what's special about Simple Human products? First time hearing about them.
The garbage cans are pretty awesome. The key is the combination of the garbage cans and then the bags. And then they take normal houseware things and they spend money on them, right? So they don't just operate in the status quo of what exists. And so these are higher end products, like garbage cans, like $300, $200 or something like that. The bags are then designed specifically to fit their garbage can. So they have a letter coding system, color and letter coding for their not coding system, the code system for perfect fit, bags. And then like their dispensers are awesome. They're things like the hamper's cool. So just check out the site, and a lot of very expensive stuff, but awesome stuff that works really well too.
Sensor mirrors, kitchen, bath. Oh yeah, the dish rack thing is pretty sweet too. I'm a pretty frugal guy, Steven, and I caved and bought some of the trash cans, and I would never go back. They are pretty sweet. Which I hate to admit that. Francisco Nunez, $4.99 super chat. Also, I just saw your video on the Ambio Max. Is there a new version on the horizon, or will I be safe if I order one right now?
I'm pretty sure the Max is here to stay. Somebody in one of the comments had mentioned that there'd been some issues with the Max. I've been running mine for quite some time now. One is not a good case study. But I think originally the original version they had some software issues and things like that, and I think it's here to stay. I would guess in the next year or so they will probably come out with like a Max 2.0 that possibly has some firmware differences, maybe a few hardware differences to allow it to be able to use with their subwoofer. So the Max doesn't have the chipset that's capable of syncing with the subwoofers. The other disadvantage is that when you do the Ambio tune or you do the Ambio room correction, the software doesn't take into account a subwoofer. So you would do the Ambio room calibration, then you would just add a subwoofer and try to tune your subwoofer to it. And I wouldn't recommend the Ambio sub unless you're doing the Soundbar Plus. So the Soundbar Plus has all the latest software and hardware. So the Soundbar Plus you can run up to 4 subs, but I think the Ambio is still the way to go. We just got several of them in stock. It's a really great. I mean, I've never been a soundbar kind of guy, but this in certain applications just makes a lot of sense, and it's not good at high volume. None of them are. The Klipsch soundbar is pretty good at high volume, but it's not a great sound to begin with. But it's a really amazing option for like regular listening at low to moderate volumes in your non-theater area. It's pretty sweet. I mean, now the thing freaking weighs a ton, so just be aware when you get this thing. It's incredibly heavy, and it's a pretty remarkable piece of equipment. That's why I fought to try to get them in the store. It'd be great in a garage attached to the TV. You could listen to music on it. But it's a 90-10, 90% TV and movie watching, 10% music. It's not a great music option unless it's background listening.
Yeah, so they dropped off 2 of these today, and the poor FedEx guy was trying to put 2 of them on the same dolly, and he had to just put one at a time. They're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Greg Robinson wants to know, what is Matt's favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye for sure. Yeah.
Good choice.
I bought a bunch of ribeye fillets, and I don't like them. I thought since it's a ribeye fillet, it's the fillet section, the like tender section of the ribeye.
Cut out. Oh.
But it's missing the flavor and everything because it doesn't have the fat vein in it. Yeah, I like ribeyes the most. 2-inch or 1.75 inch ribeyes.
Nate SF. When we were talking about the warranty, he said the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So there you go. Federal Trade Commission from the 1970s.
Yeah.
See, this is why we have these guys in our chat. So there you go, Addison. Print that out and give that to your parents.
There you go. That's what you need to
read this.
Yeah.
Neil White says, "Hey Matt, what is the OG spec toenail clipper?"
Oh, I don't know. I just buy the one at Target. If you find one, let me know. You know, what I have like a Revlon or whatever what do they have like at Walmart for all my Walmart trips?
Revlon.
Yeah, there's got to be good ones though. I'd like to have one.
Thanks a lot, Neil. You put that idea in his head. Ershon wants to know, when are we going to see Matt in a Benz? The new S63E maybe, or a W204 C63 as a giveaway car?
No, I don't think so. I doubt it.
No Benz for you?
Nope.
Jordan G says, "Hey Matt, is the high torque Centerlock torque gun eligible for the 10K shopping spree?"
No, the shopping spree is digital entry only. So you have to basically buying a digital raffle ticket, if you will.
I think what he's asking, though, is if he wins the shopping spree, can he spend part of that 10K on the high torque?
Sure.
Yeah, it's in the store. It's not in stock right now, but by the time the shopping spree happens, yeah. Have you tried ceramic coating your shower or bathroom mirrors, considering try it to prevent mineral deposit?
I've always thought about it, and I've never done it. It would be kind of cool, though. It's probably a smart move.
Follow-up on the Redline 360C and the M3. Have you tried the Uniden R8? I'm very happy with my R7S.
I haven't done the R8s, but tons of R7s, and I think maybe I'm just used to that interface, but I don't know. The 360 seems to be annoying me a little bit. I'm not sure what it is.
And Manny, our own Manny, has offered to buy those fillets off of you if you no longer want the ribeye fillets.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I bought a bunch of them. They're okay. It's just I find that the regular ribeye, like I thawed one out. I'm probably gonna ruin it. It's a freaking black. It's a prime black or whatever. You know, it's probably an $80 little puck, and it's been sitting in there thawed out, and it's probably ruined now. But yeah, I don't love it. I need to cook it tonight.
Let's see. This is either Bryce or Mike chimed in here. The only Benz you'll see Matt in is the backseat of a Maybach.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Obsessed Mobile Detailing says, what advice would you give me as a 27-year-old who didn't use credit cards responsibly in my younger years and now suffers from bad credit?
Yeah, I mean, you could fix it. I mean, with just, buying stuff on credit, and paying for it. So the key is to not screw up again. And in 3 or 4 years of, try to get a car loan and use credit cards. So first start with using credit cards, right? Don't be a freaking poro debit card only user. Don't use a debit card ever for anything. I don't even have the debit cards in my wallet. And so, don't get on that debit card train. Get the credit card. Work your limit up. I'd say call once a year and try to have them increase your limit. And get yourself a car loan if you can next. So if you have a credit card and a car loan, it's probably going to take you 2 or 3 or 4 years of being responsible with those. Pay the credit card off, so don't get in trouble again. And make sure you're paying the car on time. Set it up. If it's due on the 15th, pay it on the 1st. Do that over and over and over again forever. Set it up automatically so you can't screw it up. And then, if you have an apartment or whatever, that can help your credit too. And then eventually, try to get a mortgage. Buy a house, get a mortgage, and pay for that. And then, before you know it, you'll have a fixed credit. Probably take you 5 or 6 years to clean that up. But start with a credit card. Anybody can get a freaking credit card, even with bad credit.
They'll send your dog a credit card.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to get an Amex, but get yourself a credit card or two, or if you have one, use it. Don't go get another one if you already have one, but use that. Buy everything on that. Pay as many bills as you can. Everything goes to your credit card, and pay it. It doesn't help you from a credit score perspective to pay it ahead of time, but make sure it's paid ahead of time so you don't screw it up. If you miss one frickin' payment, you're back starting over again. So don't do that. That would be a pretty simple process for establishing and creating better credit.
All right, so Josh Allen is in the chat. I don't know if that's the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, or maybe a different one. But he has a nail clipper recommendation for you. So right. KLHI up. Oh, yeah, that looks like something you would buy.
Interesting.
Clip the world's first ergonomically correct nail. Oh, $80. That's got your name all over it. Look at this.
I want it to be a little bit more than that.
All this time you've been doing it back to front. Our award-winning breakthrough in design gives you increased control and leverage as you trim your nails. Precision engineered from surgical-grade stainless steel and with a handmade leather case. You'll want to show off your Clip Ultimate Clipper as much as your tidy new nails. A great gift, even if it's to yourself.
Interesting.
Look at that.
Maybe I'll get me one of those.
Great action, clean cut, built to last.
Like that. All that's good.
Yeah, free shipping. Oh, they have a warranty.
Yeah, warranty, that's real helpful. Yeah.
Patents, there's lots of patents there. Lots of testimonials. Look at that.
Yeah, it looks pretty markety, though,
Yeah. Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yep.
I have to order 10 of them. All right. Sorry. Thanks for that, Josh. Several people here are recommending you get on the Wagyu game. Wagyu beef.
Yeah, they're okay. The thing I struggle with Wagyu is those are fat, sick cows. That's why they taste so delicious. It's not a
super
healthy.
Marbly or extra fatty.
Yeah. I mean, and I tend to prefer the. It tastes a little bit too. I don't know. Wagyu is just a little bit odd tasting to me.
I've never had it. I can't speak to it.
It has like a buttery taste to it. But I'll buy those occasionally, Not the fillets, though. I don't like a fillet. Just don't like it.
Even if it's got all this fat in it?
Nope. No, I don't like it. I like a ribeye.
Whole tenderloin.
I'm pretty much exclusive ribeyes now. I used to think I liked New York strips, but then I realized I don't really like those. Yep.
I'm with you on that one. Hey, Matt, I have a real question. Good. It's fine. About time we get one of those. I'm looking at home gym, dumbbells, bars, etc.
Yep.
What should I buy?
Just go to RogueFitness.com and buy everything Rogue because it's freaking awesome.
Little starter kit, though, for Neil here. So what does he need? Needs dumbbells? Need a good barbell?
Yeah, I mean, you need a rig is what you need, so then you can do everything.
Pull-up rig.
Don't frickin' buy the weight selectable dumbbells. You see the dorks that do that, where it's like this weight thing and you can kind of, unclip it. So you want, Rogue dumbbells, and you start to build your collection of them. Depending on how much of a sissy you are and what weights you need. So I want dumbbells. I want some kettlebells. I want a 35, a 53, and a 70-pound kettlebell. I want a rack, either an infinity rig or a single person monster rig. I want a rower. I want an event eventually in the future. I'd want an air bike, like a salt type bike. You want a box, right?
Need a box.
Yeah. You probably want a medicine ball, for do some wall ball stuff. An ab mat. A yoga mat to lay on, to work out with. You need a barbell.
Jump rope.
I actually like, what's the barbell I have? It's not Again Faster. It's some knockoff jank barbell that ends up being, it's freaking really good. It's one of the alternative Rogue brands.
There's an X in it somewhere.
X Training, X Training is the best. It's the best darn barbell I've ever used, and it's cheap. It's like $200. And in the world of barbells, that's pretty cheap. X training equipment. Yeah, it's really freaking good. That one. Yeah. We're all using that. The whole gym. Everybody
I've
has
seen
Norm.
that at a couple gyms.
Norm found it. It's really good. It's look at it. It's like $200.
I want bumpers on bars.
Yeah, their bumpers are terrible.
Olympic barbells. Yeah,
Yeah, everything else they have is garbage. $220.
that is fairly.
The knurling's great. It spins well. It's a bushing bar. You don't want a bearing bar, because the bearing bar you're gonna break unless you have like the proper platform. You want a bushing bar. Bearing bars are like $600 and up, like an Elite Go or something like that. But yeah, so the Elite Competition Bar 2.0 is what you want.
Oh, they're out of the men's bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't buy a girl's bar. 20 kilograms, what you need, which is 45 pounds.
We got this one. Yeah,
What
this
else
one's
do you
in
need?
stock.
You need a jump rope. You need some sort of music, some audio equipment, which we can help you out with. Get some green bands there.
Bands are good.
Maybe a belt, some wrist straps.
The ski erg while you're at it.
Yeah, the ski erg's good. Just watch the Helen
I was gonna
video
say,
or
there's-
the Helen vlogs.
Get some good collars too for your.
Yeah, you want Oso collars.
Oso.
Yep.
Is that a different brand?
Yeah, they have them at Rogue.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, you don't want those plastic collars. Are terrible. They last about 5 seconds. Those aren't very good either.
Aluminum, no good.
No, you want the. I think it's type in OSO. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
those.
not those ones. Those ones aren't great. You want the Oso Mighty. I think they're called. See those
Mighty?
ones? Yep, that's the best one. Yep.
Ooh.
That's what I use. Been using them for like 3 or 4 years now.
I've seen
Same
those.
set. Michelle has a set. I have a set.
$35. That's not bad.
They're great. It's the best one because they're light and they lock on. They keep the weights on. They're not as hard to put on as the bigger ones that they make. So they're like the little guys. I like those a lot.
All right, so there you go, Neil. Buy just one of everything.
A Peloton.
No.
No Pelotons. No Nordic Track. None of that marketing nonsense. No mirrors. You don't need to be doing lat pull downs. Just freaking do pull ups. So I just get a rig, and then just start doing freaking squats every day. Squat, bench, deadlift, cleans. And you need flooring, so you need stall mats, 3/4 inch horse stall mats,
Those jokers are heavy too.
100 pounds a piece. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's another nail clipper recommendation.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, let's see. Seiki Edge. Some Japanese made.
I like
They're
that.
throwing them away.
They're
That looks
throwing
pretty
away your
fancy.
old ones. That's what they're
$18.
showing.
Oh, no.
That seems too cheap.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's out.
Sure, that wasn't like an Amazon, knockoff Amazon junk.
Let's see. Super chat here. Spencer again. Be sure to put my name down for when you sell the used polishing pads off the Porsche. Tired of missing out? Shoot me an email. Let me know how much. 1 million.
I don't got time for remembering who. I just post it. Post and ghost. And Chris comes in and grabs them, sends them. Yep.
Janet yells at me for bringing more junk over.
Mm-hmm.
PR Peacock Bass says, hi from Puerto Rico. Hi there, PR Peacock Bass. German nail clippers are the best, says Dwight. Man, I didn't never know there were such nail clippers out
It's
there.
got to be, yeah.
Skylar S wants to know, any suggestion on a pop-up tent for a detailing van outside? We don't have a lot of cloudy days in Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. What's that one that I have? It's not big enough, though. There's one on Amazon that has like a UV filter that we bought for football games that works really well. I did a lot of research on this. There's not like a lot of options, and that's been the big problem. So I don't really have a suggestion for you.
All right, MFlies23 says, will we see a G87 M2 project car during its life cycle at OG?
I think so, yeah. That is a car I'm really interested in because I like the engine. I like the S58 and the the G80 M3. I just don't like how it looks. And a lot of people don't like how the M2 looks, but I think with an aggressive front lip, some really awesome wheels, lowered, the new M2 I think could be pretty cool. But I don't know. Unless I get one and try it and start seeing what it could be. But that car is going to be pretty cool. You tune it, and man, it's going to be really fast.
C-Mac says, speaking of things that Maddie needs, grab the pepper cannon from Man Kitchen for Helen.
Yeah, I already have it. Yeah, I have not at Helen, but I have one at my house, and they have. He's working on a salt cannon too. I think it's awesome. It's anodized aluminum. It's freaking great. It's like $200.
He says, the thing is legit. OG Spec really ups the steak and smash burger game.
Yep. Yeah, I have that, and then I have his all of his spatula thingies. It's freaking awesome. MANN Kitchen. Yeah.
Let's see. Robert Dean says, hi guys, any plans for garage giveaway this year? Sorry if this was asked earlier.
Yeah, not this year, but early next year. I'm planning on maybe December. Well, I guess that would be this year. So we were talking about that today. We're going to iron that out, but December or January, we're going to start transitioning to do at least 2 garage giveaways a year and maybe 1 to 2 cars a year. So that's the plan for our leaner times. But yeah, we definitely want to do garage giveaways because those are awesome, and can do really, really well.
We have yet another toenail clipper suggestion here. Rubus, they're Swiss-made nail clippers. Look at that. But that's like a hole for your thumb, I guess.
Interesting.
Man.
You have to get all these and try them out.
Who knew? Neil White says, adjustable bench, ab bench, barbell, dumbbells, pull-up bar, squat stand. I have a road bike, and I also run. There you go. Matt Rayburn wants to know, do you like Audis or plan to own any?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I like how they look, but I don't like how they drive. I mean, the R8's different, but the S4s and S8s and RS3s and such, it's just too much understeer. It's not fun to drive.
And then Dylan says you also got to have a mirror so you can take pictures for social media. That goes in the gym. Got to have one of those.
Yeah, no mirrors. Yeah, none of that.
Oh, man. Brandon asks, I think we talked about this last week, actually, but how did that delivery truck get unstuck in the driveway at Helen?
I had 2 big planks of 4-inch by 8-inch thick cedar that I put, and I had them back up onto that, which got it unhigh-sided, and then they were able to pull forward from there.
All right, so that's all the questions we got for this week. Good timing.
Cool. I'm going to go make a Hayfella video on all the Hayfella fine line stuff that I bought, one of each. Hit me up if you're interested in doing Hayfella. I've got like one of everything, and for all the kitchen organization stuff, drawer organization, and I need to sell it off. So what my proposal to everybody is that if you can tell me what drawers, I can help you figure it out. I'll design it for you, and then let's say that you wanted the walnut stuff. And I didn't have everything you needed. I'll order everything and sell it to you all at my cost, which is a substantial discount. It's 30 to 40% off. So we can, I probably won't have everything that you need, and so I'll order whatever you need to complement it at at my cost. So we can we need it for photos and video, and then I'll I'm going to put it back in the original box and we can ship it out. But we'll order everything you need. So hit me up if you're interested in doing Hayfella and you want to do it at my cost. You'll help me out and help me get out. I think I bought like $10,000 or $11,000 worth of the product, and then now I need to sell it. So there's a standing invitation there. Shoot me an email, matt@obsessedgarage.com, if you want me to set you up and you get a big discount.
All right, and Brad says, see you next Friday? I think so, Brad.
Yep.
We'll both be around. You'll be gone in Helen the next weekend, but yeah, next Friday we'll be back again. So
cool. See you.
Plans to join us then.
See everybody then. Later.